All right, welcome back, YouTube. I'm sorry it's been a while, but today I've got kind of a doozy. We have a Chrysler product in the shop. I'm going to show you the orange peel on this, and we're going to go through trying to texture match. This is going to be a difficult one, but we're going to see what we can do. All right, so like I said, we have a Chrysler product. This is a Dodge Ram, and the OEM texture on these, I don't know if that's even going to pick it up, but it is god-awful. So thick, so gross. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera because holy bejesus. Okay, so hopefully that showed up. Essentially what I'm going to try to do is match the same texture here, match that same texture on this corner here. And there's a couple of ways I'm going to go about doing this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is when I go to spot seal this, I'm going to run a lower pressure than normal to basically start out with orange peel. I know that sounds weird, it sounds counterproductive, but I need to start with a little bit of texture in order to blend this repair in, because it's not as simple as just grabbing some base coat and blending the base coat out. That's the easy part. I need to match the texture so it looks like I was never here as best I can. I mean, I need to at least make an attempt. Chances are this is probably going to come out slicker than factory, but I need to at least try. So we're going to try. And that also involves sealer and all the way through clear. Base coat, it's just gonna get sprayed like normal. But my clear coat, I'm gonna spray at a lower pressure just to try to get this texture to just be a little bit thicker. I'm also going to use a solder jet. I have a 5500X 1.3i that I'm going to use for clear coat, and I'm going to run that thing at like 20 pounds. Low pressure. I'm gonna have to be very careful not to run it. But yeah, I'm gonna stick you guys on my helmet after I get this one taped up. And yeah, we're just gonna see how this job goes. All right, she's all taped up using that Q1 orange. I know you guys have seen probably on social media and seen this tape time and time again. I'm gonna tell you right now, we switched from 3M yellow a long time ago. We switched to OM from American, which is pretty solid, but I still had kind of blow through issues. And me personally, I like kind of a thinner European style tape like this. If you guys are interested in upgrading your tape game, this orange from Q1, dude, this is the shit. Like it works so good, holds on really, really well. It's waterproof. It works fantastic, especially if you guys are a waterborne shop. And like I said, guys, I'm gonna use sealer to start. I'm gonna spot seal this and that lower, and I'm gonna use low pressure, right? Because the difference here to here, texture-wise, this is like dead flat. That is not. I need to start out with a little bit of peel to make this look right. So I'm gonna throw you guys on the hood and we'll just get into this. This should go fairly quick, but we'll see how it looks at the end. And like I said, I know this seems like counterintuitive because as a painter, wouldn't you want to make it flat as possible? No, not in OEM repairs. So if this was a complete respray, yes, I would want to make it as slick off the gun as I could possibly make it. When you're talking OEM repairs, you need to match OEM texture. That happens in a variety of different ways, from clear coat pressure to sealer pressure. Really, I need the sealer to be thick in order to match this because it's going to start at the ground level, which is my sealer, and work its way up. I'm gonna need that texture to show through to the clear coat so everything lays down right. I basically want this truck to roll out of here, all of the texture be the same, and then when it's going down the road, it's not like a big flat spot on this bedside, right? Like if we were to completely flat sand this, it would be so obvious that this truck's been hit right here, there's been repairs done, that it just doesn't look good, right? I know this one single panel would look amazing, but the rest of the truck, it just wouldn't match. So anyway, that's kind of my logic here, and a lot of guys understand that if you've been painting for a long time, you have to match the texture. You're not going to get away from it. You have to do it. So anyway, let's get on the hood and yeah, get this job knocked out. All right, guys, so I have a little bit of sealer mixed up in this. All right, get that shaken up. We're gonna start, as we always do, with a blowing tack here. Oh God, I'm gonna fall on my bum. But essentially, I'm gonna have to test out and see what gives me the most texture. This stuff all backed off. Alright, so let's figure out my typical pressure for this Kiwami 4 for sealer is going to be 24 psi. I do not want to spray it at that. I'm thinking, let's see, what do we got here? 14? That's going to give us some texture, right? I want texture. I don't want it to lay down smooth. I think that's going to give me the texture that I need. I am, however, going to have to go get, I like to have reducer in this gun. I will spot seal and then I'll melt all my overspray edge with reducer. So let me go fill this up real quick. All right, so I just put a little bit of US 5 in this. That's a warm temp reducer, hot temp reducer. But what we're going to do is spot seal these now. And the nice thing about using a lower pressure too is I'm not going to have like a whole bunch of sealer overspray everywhere. But I want to start out with a bit of texture. So, now I don't know if you guys will be able to even see that, but we do have a little bit of texture already built up right here. It's exactly what I want to see. And that's why I used a lower pressure. I might even do 2 coats just to kind of exaggerate it. Because these Dodges are very, very, very textured. Okay. And I used US 3 reducer, so it's a faster reducer, so I don't really need to wait all that long. Yeah, there we go. 2 coats. I will get you guys off the helmet too, just so I can show you. Hopefully you guys will be able to see. I know this Osmo doesn't really focus that well close. But hopefully I'll be able to show you. Okay, and this has been sticking, I don't know why, but that's fine. I think my needle's just sticking. Spray reducer over these edges. And it's just going to make this all softer. I did get a little bit more drift than I typically would like to see. That's okay. I'll show you how to clean that up before we spray base coat. But let me get you off the helmet and get you guys in a little bit closer so you guys can see. Hopefully you can see this little bit of orange peel in that. That's what I want. I know it doesn't look amazing, right? It doesn't. Typically that's not what we want to see, but I'm going for an OEM match, so that's what I want to see at this point. Any of this kind of sealer overspray, I don't know if you guys can see, I'm going to clean with alcohol. After this completely flashes off, I'm going to spray a rag, and I'll put you guys on the helmet and show you, but I'll spray a rag and wipe down all the blend areas. Because I did 2 coats, I have a little bit of excess kind of overspray, and I don't feel like using a ton of base coat and basically basing the entire bedside. I just want to stick to my sealed areas. So I'm going to hit this. I'm going to go ahead and let it hit a flash cycle, and then yeah, I'll come in here and we'll get some base coat going. I'll show you guys how to wipe off that overspray without really messing anything up. And yeah, we'll continue with this kind of OEM repair, trying to get some orange peel in this. It's kind of hard to get orange peel like intentionally when you're so used to just wanting to slick stuff out. But hopefully if you guys are, you know, trying to do OEM repairs, this will help you to make things look better. Because if this, like I said before, if this was all perfectly glassy, and it might look glassy when I clear it from back here, but if it was all dead flat, it would look awful. It would stand out like a sore thumb. I know some guys will try to argue with me in the comment section, but I'm trying to make this invisible, and this is where it starts, is with that sealer. And we do have some peel in there, and it looks exactly how I wanted it to look, so I'm very happy. So Anyway, let me flash this off. We'll wipe it down, get some base blended. All right, guys, like I said, I gotta clean up that sealer overspray. So this is all dry now. I have just a clean towel. SC159 is the cleaner that I'm using. It is alcohol based, so I'm not going to directly wipe the sealer. I am simply going to wipe the surrounding area. And don't stress out if you see any kind of line. It's not going to be the end of the world. It will disappear. Okay, that's, people always get freaked out. They're like, oh, there's going to be a line here. No, like you see this line? It's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. I'm just cleaning up the sealer drift. Because I do not want to have base coat every which way. You can see, like that. Not a big deal. As long as you can't feel it, right? Can't feel that. The top side of this over here. If you can feel it, what you can do is take a little bit of 1000 grit. You know, I'll show you how to do it. How about we do that? We'll just lightly sand, so we'll get nice and close. Make a definitive line on purpose. Okay. Do this. All of the sealer drift off. And then we'll take some K1000 and we'll just sand it. Because P30 you can sand. Like this stuff, now that it's sat in here for a while, you can absolutely sand it. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so we have all of this wiped down. I'm going to go grab some K1000. We'll just hit this edge. I'll show you how to do that if you end up with an edge. Alright, so I'm going to use this Kovacs K1000. I grab my little block here, interface. This guy. So this is like Kovacs' little block, right? Part number 00212. And then I have a soft interface. And obviously, because I'm sanding, I'm going to need to blow and tack this, but it's not a big deal. But I'm going to just run over this edge, like so. Okay. And that right there is going to leave me no edge when I go and spray base coat blender over top of this. Alright. There. So now, I'll re-clean this, re-tack it, and we'll be ready for base coat. Now you can use wax and grease remover over sealer, and it's not going to affect the sealer at all. Alright, I'll just spray it directly on a rag. We'll clean where we sanded. Alright. And we're still going to blow and tack. You see how it's not affecting the sealer. It's not going to lift it, it's not going to wrinkle it. If you use an alcohol-based cleaner, it can soften the sealer because of how aggressive it is. So don't do that. If you need to wipe the sealer, if you need to wipe the sealer down, use a wax and grease remover. It's not going to affect it. So now, what I need to swap my regulator to my base blender gun. I've been using this CC500 from Eastwood for my base coat blender gun. This, honestly, for the price, this thing is bitchin'. You guys need a budget-friendly gun for base coat or base coat blender, clear coat. Like, it sprays everything pretty damn nice. Now we'll go through again because I did sand. And make sure we tack rag the whole thing off. Again. And we'll use the anti-static. Now we just make sure to blow over the plastic too, because obviously plastic likes to get staticky. People always ask me if this works on metal. It really does. Alright, so now we're ready to just go ahead and blend our color out. That texture is like perfectly chunky for OEM match, so we'll just get our color blended out as usual. And yeah, just get on with our day. Alright, so I'm going to do one wet coat of base coat blender everywhere just to give these metallic and pearls something to land in. It also shines up the surface so you can actually see what you're doing, which is equally beneficial. But this whole part of the process is going to go incredibly quick. So I am going to go wet on wet, just like I always do. And today's flavor of spray gun, Illuma Exodus 1.3 Oki cap. We'll use this Illuma light just so we can see what the heck we're doing. I'm going to run this at about 24 psi. Yeah. Only got 8 ounces of base. I think I'm going to be just fine with that, but let's go ahead. First coat, I'm looking to just wet it out. Alright. Get that coverage. And then second coat is a half coat. So we're really looking to just orient and get slightly better coverage. Like so. I've had quite a few comments that guys have been missing videos like this, kind of steady walkthrough, so I'm going to try to just make one of these a week. And if you guys don't already follow my social media, I do put a little bit more effort into my social media stuff versus YouTube. It's really hard to get on the right side of YouTube's algorithm when you're not doing, you know, a trend video. And that's really all I've been seeing is all of these trends, like using an airless paint sprayer to spray this kind of paint. And realistically, I look at that and I think that's really pointing guys in the wrong direction, because you're going to waste a lot of paint using something like that versus a traditional compressor fed gun. Okay, now I need my little fan jet blower. We're going to dry this base coat. I will speed this part up and just show you what the dried base coat looks like. And then we'll get into control coating it, and that'll be base coat done. But just to kind of continue on, I've had a few people ask me what I thought about those airless sprayers. And you know, if you're trying to paint a tractor, go right ahead. That'll work just fine. If you're trying to paint something like your own vehicle and you want it to turn out nice, like no, I just would not waste my time. You could use a turbine, you could use a 27 gallon. I've made videos explaining how that 27 gallon that I have at home works for painting cars, and it works just fine. But you'll use less product. You're not going to get it on as thick, which a lot of people think, oh, thicker paint is better. That's not. You hit a certain mill thickness level, and you're right on that line to where it's going to do the crow's feet and crack out, and then you got to strip it off, and it looks awful. It's a lot of work to fix. I just think that's pointing people in the wrong direction. So I'm going to just continue on my, technical paint videos, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. I'm not really a big fan of a lot of these trends. It's just for views. I'm not down with it. All right, so that base coat is dry. You see my blends all look really, really nice. Now we're ready to drop coat it. I did go in the mix room and add a little bit of 90-20 and a little bit extra reducer, simply because I was running low and it's pretty warm in here, so a little bit of added reducer is going to be beneficial. What I'm going to do, I know my little knob fell off, but I'm going to wind this all the way in, and on the Illuma 3 gun I like to do 2 turns. So you see it's wound all the way in with the notch up, 2 turns, see where that's at. Yeah, let's do 2.5. I basically just want to limit the amount of paint coming out of this when I do my control coat. And I am going to go an opposite direction versus how I sprayed it. So I sprayed it this way, and I'm going to basically cross coat it. So I'm going to go this way. That just kind of helps to mesh everything together, just to avoid having a blotchy paint job, because I do not want this to be blotchy. I know this video is all about OEM seal matching, but you know, we'll throw in a little bit of base coat technique at the same time, just like that. And the same thing down here. And I know some guys will be yelling at the screen right now, oh, you're gonna have a whole bunch of sand piling up there. I'm gonna show you what my solution is here in just a second. Because if you're new to waterborne, sand piling is a real thing, and it's not fun to fight with. It's essentially when metallics just pile up on each other and cause a rough surface, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just lightly blow some air over this just to get it to flash off. And then I'm going to do a coat of base blender over basically the whole thing. And it's going to bury all of those metallics and kind of lock them down. So when I go to spray my clear coat, I'm not going to move any of these metallics, okay? So far I'm really happy with the way this blend looks. Everything looks nice and smooth. But there is a method to the madness here. And when it's really hot is when it's really like important to do this, because before those metallics hit the surface, they're trying to dry. That's why I over reduce slightly and just giving myself every chance to make sure that it looks good. And it doesn't take much of this base coat blender to melt all this stuff together. Oh yeah, hold on. I forgot I need to dust a little bit of base down there. My prepper got overzealous and cut through, so let's do that really fast. I'm glad that I remembered that now and not in my first coat of clear, because I'd have been kind of upset. Show you, see if you guys can see it on here. Yeah, right there. Not a big deal. Just a little bit. Get it covered. Things like this, man, it's like I was a prepper too. I know. These things happen. You can't get too upset. Especially when I've seen it. Alright. That's covered. And now we'll go back to the base coat blender. But what I was about to say with this is it doesn't take much to do, you know, to bury this stuff in. It has the added benefit of then, like, you can see on a slightly shiny surface how your blend actually came out. So once this flashes off, we'll be able to tell if we did good or we didn't. And if you're wondering what blender this is specific to Ultra 9K, okay? Every paint line is going to have a base coat blender. But essentially, I just take U9020, reduce it 30%, so it's real thin, and that's my base coat blender. If you mix it by the computer, it'll try to do just 10%. But 30% seems to work better for me. You can see, I hope you guys can see this on camera. Like this all looks fantastic. This is a pretty coarse metallic, but it blends out pretty damn nice. This is, if you're wondering, Field A variant. It's yellower bear. Can't even say that. Yellower variant. There we go. It's 95% of the time I'm using yellower. Standard is usually too purple. Yellower always blends out really, really nice. So If you're a 9K guy or even Sunfire Pro, it's the same story for me. Field A is the move. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through a flash cycle for 15 minutes, allow it to just get nice and dry. I'm going to go mix up some clear coat. I'll show you all that. We'll get into kind of how I plan to attack this, because I am going to use, like I mentioned, the solder jet. The reason I'm going to use the solder jet is it really gets a lot of material on there, especially at low pressure. So I'm going to spray it in about 20 to 22. I'll test it first and we'll see what it looks like. But that's kind of my game plan to OEM match this, man. I do need to get some texture in it, and that's a solder jet at 30 psi. You can lay down some super slick finishes, but it's a really versatile gun in the terms that when you need to peel match, it's pretty easy just to dial in, you know, your pressure. So let's go through that. If you guys are interested, I'll just mention this. You guys can use the code Joel7 at Luma3 and it knocks the price of these down. I know a lot of people, these are sold out for a good long while, but the Luma Exodus are now, I believe, back in stock. These, if you don't want to use a Luma light, you don't have to. These are fantastic, even if you order them just the gun and you remove this adapter here. Literally just push back on this tab and slide the light off. But for base coat, these are fantastic. The 1.5 OP is a little bit on the fast side for me personally, but it does work really, really well for guys that really like to haul ass. I'm just not a super fast sprayer these days. I like more control, so if I was going to get one for clear, it'd probably be this 1.3 LP. That's just my 2 cents on the ordeal. I figured I'd pass along a savings discount code to you if you guys are interested. But yeah, so I'm gonna let this go through a flash cycle, and then we'll get in here and we'll spray some thick and heavy orange peel, shall we? All right, you guys, so here's the fun part. We have CC250 mixed up. I did use US3. The reason for using US3 is I don't want this to flow a whole lot, right? I want it to kind of lay down with a little texture and lock up. So that's why I used US3. Now for pressure, see what we're gonna rock with. 21. This is gonna be the tricky part. Guessing. I'm going to start with 21. I might have to do a different pressure on my second coat, but we're just going to start at 21 psi. I'm going to see what that looks like. I'm going to move kind of fast because, like I said, I don't want this to flow out. I kind of want to have kind of a drier first coat, just because I want it to lay down chunky, right? It's going to be kind of a challenge here, but we're going to see what we can do. I also don't want it to look god-awful, but I mean, Chrysler just kind of looks god-awful, so my first coat will appear really dry. That kind of is what it is. I might even do 3 coats, just like I have enough material to kind of mimic that thickness, you know? Yeah, this stuff looks dry as hell, but that's okay. I think I am going to opt, just looking what this looks like currently, I am going to opt for, I think, 3 coats. Because I am going pretty fast. And I am going to let this kind of get sticky before I go and do a second coat on the top of it. So I'm kind of doing a tack coat. I don't know if you guys can even see, but I mean, it is very peely at this point, and that's okay. In order to achieve that nice thick peel like the rest of the truck, I'm going to have to give it some body. But right now it is very dry, very kind of nasty. Don't mind the dents right there. That's all hidden by a flare. This is a customer pay ordeal, so we're gonna let that get nice and sticky. We'll come in here and do coat 2. I decided against mixing more. I'm gonna see what 2 gets me right here. I'm gonna set this at 26. 26 psi, right there. get a second coat on this, and yeah, let's see what this comes out like. Like I mentioned, this does have OEM peel. We did just Scotch spray, so it should settle into that. Even through a bake cycle, it's going to settle in and scrape just a little bit more. So try to just get some stuff on here on the thicker side. Just slow down my arm speed here just a little bit. I think we're chunking out okay. It's so weird to say that. If you don't want to have it look too good. Doesn't appear right. No, we're running out. Okay, so where are we at right now? We're still pretty tight peel. I am gonna opt for that third coat. It's a little bit too tight for my liking, but it is very peely. I think that third coat's going to flow over this and really give me that thick appearance that I'm looking for. But my repair areas right here, it's all uniform. So I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but it's all uniform from here all the way across. And where it's really like flowing into that OEM texture here, you can see, yeah, we're looking good. So I'm going to allow this stuff to get really sticky. I'm going to give it probably 8 to 10 minutes, and then I'll do a third coat. I don't usually do a third coat, but I want it to just be a thick texture just to match. But so far, we're on the right track. Like, the way my prepper prepped this, just scuffing it, obviously he prepped the primer nice and smooth, that's what we're supposed to do. But just scuffing that OEM texture has allowed this new clear coat to really set into it, and that's what I needed. So let me go mix up a little bit more. We'll get back in here, do a third coat. I think we're honestly looking good. And God, I don't know if you guys can see down the side of these things from the factory are so bad. All these brand new trucks, they're just choppy, you know, all the way across. But what are you gonna do? Okay, so we got a little bit more clear mixed up here. Yeah, we're pretty damn sticky now. Yeah, we're good. We'll do this third coat. I'm gonna just keep it at that 26 PSI. That's 26. I like the way that was coming out, so let's do it. It's really like important too when you're prepping these to like leave some of that texture in there. I know some shops get so overzealous with like flat sanding everything. Dude, you can totally tell what panels you repaired. Unless you're flat sanding and buffing the whole vehicle, and why would you do that? Like, it's not a very good thing to do, or good practice. We're not looking for glass, you know. We are actually looking for texture. I know all these guys on YouTube will tell you, oh, this is how you spray absolute glass. Everything has texture in it. It just is what it is. If you want to get the flattest paint, you're going to have to flat sand and polish it. There's just no way around it. And I'll be real honest with you, I am not ambitious enough of a guy to want to do that. Like, I absolutely can't. I don't want to do that. That's a waste of time. All right, that's 3 coats. To get you off my helmet, I do want to put a little bit more up here. Get you off my helmet so you guys can see this texture. Yeah, like I said, this is a 5500 RP. If this thing was cranked up to, you know, 29, 30 PSI, and I had prepped this with 800 grit, removed all the texture, we could get a really flat finish out of this. Okay, so let's look. See this texture in here? I really hope you can. but it's very, very uniform, front to back. Nice, thick, gross texture. I know. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bake this now, and then we're gonna unmask it. And I'll show you what the rest of the truck looks like, and then we'll come to this. This is probably going to be slightly smoother. No way around it. It's probably going to be slightly slicker. But this is about all I can do, you know what I mean? All I can do is prep it accordingly to retain as much texture as possible, and then spray it just how you see me do it. So that trying to peel match, I think it's pretty damn good. I think it's honestly going to match the rest of the truck pretty spot on. So let me hit the bake cycle. I'm gonna go to lunch. When I get back, I'll unmask this, and we'll just take a look together and see if we did it or if it's a little slicker, what the case is. All right guys, I am back from lunch. This is through a bake cycle. I'm gonna take a peek at what it's factory texture, and we'll come back over here. This is what we're looking like. God, I hope that just shows up in video. It's so hard to catch. I know this camera is not excellent at catching stuff like this, but I hope you guys can see that 100% happy with that. This also has a topper and rack and all of that kind of stuff that's got to go onto it. But this is pretty much, I think, as invisible as it's going to get. Yes, it's peely. Yes, it's textury. Yes, it looks gross. That's not the point. I hope at this point you understand that it's like my whole job is to make this pre-accident condition, right? I want it to look like an OEM repair, and I think we nailed it with this one. I'm very happy with it. Pop the flare on, put the rack back on, put the topper back on. But as I said, this is an OEM repair. I want OEM texture, I want OEM look, I want it to look like it was never wrecked. And I think we nailed it. With the sealer being thick, that really laid that groundwork for everything else on top of it to just have the same texture. Because really, if you spray your sealer nice and slick, your clear coat and everything else that lays on top of it is going to be nice and slick. So that was my thought process there. And I think I was right. I think it looks pretty spot on. But anyway, if you guys learned anything from today's video, let me know in the comment section. If you hate it, let me know in the comment section. That's fine too. But this is just a part of OEM repairs, OEM procedures, and just making everything look like the factory did it. Okay, so anyway, enough talking. If you guys need links to tools, anything like that, it's gonna be down in the description of this video. Things that you see me use on the channel all the time. I'll provide links. There will be a link tree down there that'll have a whole bunch more. So feel free to check all that stuff out. And yeah, until the next episode, I'll catch y'all on the next one.